Well, I've done my maths and I'm doing multiplication. I've literally done 2 sums. One I got right, the second one I didn't. Wasn't explained to me properly on the Learn Direct course, and it's really frustrating because it says it's something like, hang on, what was the sum? The sum was like 1,000 and something times 14. The sum was 1,263 times 14. I got the first column right, 5,000, so times it by 4, 5,052. And then I added the 0 and I did 1 times 6, but they didn't explain. I had to watch a totally different video for it to explain the fact that the sum is, because it's in the tens column and not the units, I have to multiply the 6 by 10, but that gives me 60, right? And there's, no, 10 times 3 is 30, so I add the 0, so it's double 0, and then it's 10 times 6 is 60, that's another 0. 10 times 2 is 20, that's another 0. 10 times 1 is 1. And it just gives me 100,000. It doesn't give me the correct answer that the laptop's giving me on the equation, so absolutely doing my head in. So I'm just chilling out. I'm supposed to be doing algebra today, but they locked me out of the session for being 1 minute late. That's harsh. And I kept clicking in hoping he'd recognise the fact that someone's tried to get in. And then I've got an email and I'm asked them for a video, so my course tutor needs to upload his videos online to then go through multiplication, but I can't find any multiplication videos in the live video section, which isn't helping. Once I know how to do it, and I get the correct method, I'll be alright. But it's just hard to understand the reading and the writing on the page as opposed to... Oh god, I know I sound like I'm complaining, but I'm not. My brain is just tired after doing 2 sums. My brain's not used to it. I thought this track was going to be a wet track, to be fair. Plus like the neighbours and stuff when they're talking, giving it all this, putting me in 2, and then I'm getting the wrong answers when I'm in 2 and it's all just fuzzy. Up here's all fuzzy. It's like there's smoking out there. Go smoking here. Dare you. Makes me want to have a spliff, but I know that my second cousin Darren, he was like, he got off drugs and he was clean, and then he went back to them and then went down into a pit and a spiral descent, and I'm not doing it. I'll be letting myself down, let alone anybody else. I'll just be letting myself down. I've already come like 8 months, there's no point in turning back. Just to go straight back to square one. I'm stressed. Like, mentally stressed. It's just one of the things. I don't need no woman, I don't need to start fucking to get rid of it. I just need to mentally learn how to calm my own brain down. And then get everything as normal as I can. So I'm playing Gran Turismo, hoping to just let my brain rest. I'm hungry as well, I haven't eaten all day. I needed to take the dogs out, but I had nobody to watch the house because I have to keep an eye on the house because somebody keeps breaking in through the lock, so I've got to change the lock again. Which is another 50 quid. And then they're moaning about I'm spending money. It's just really annoying. I don't get how these people can just live it up, sit at home and just smoke weed and play on computers all day or whatever. It's like they're just waiting to die. Eh? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know how to do it. It's not even doing it, is it? It's just fucking sitting there, smoking, playing computer, talking shit, not even living in reality, living a dream world. I just want to get my veterinary I just want to get my fucking... I'm alright with my veterinarian stuff, understanding the cells, but I know I need the maths to be able to work out certain stuff. And maths is my weak point, big time. But once I get the formula and I figure it out, I should be alright once I get a clear set of instructions or get somebody to show me. But then again, I have no fucking friends. So how the fuck am I going to get anybody to show me how to do it? Fucking annoying. I'm not even complaining, I'm just venting off to myself. Double digits and triple digits are difficult. Single digits are alright, but double digits and triple digits are difficult. I've only got a level 1 in maths that I can hardly remember. I just need the grades and the UCAS points to get through. Just to get to the point of a university interview, and I'll be satisfied at that point for a little bit until I need to take it further. I'm going to start playing the national lottery. I ain't going to lie. I'm just going to play a lucky dip every 4 weeks, once a month. 5 numbers. If I win, I win. I don't, I don't. And then look at going for a scholarship program. Not only that, I've got to do my dogs as well. So I've got Lottie to train because of her breed. I've got her to turn into a field track champion, so I need to get her training. I've got to do my studies, and I've got to earn a little bit of money. It's not difficult to do, but you know, without the right kind of support or the right girl in your corner, if you're in a relationship, you might as well be on your own. Do you know what I mean? If you haven't got the right person, you might as well be on your own. It's not the fact that they're not good enough, they're just not the right one for you. They don't have the same dreams or ambitions. They don't want to learn, they don't want to progress, they want to stand still, and it's pathetic, it's boring. I might be ill, but it doesn't mean that I can't get better. Doctors say there's nothing wrong with my chest, doctors say there's nothing wrong with my heart. There's nothing wrong with my bloodstream, there's no blood clots, there's nothing apparently. I'm not going to let my dad down, nor my stepmom. I'm not letting none of them down. I will find a way to learn what I need to learn. Because in my own head, I've taken myself back to when I was a kid and taken myself to my other home without no guidance. This is what I mean, like when I lived with my biological dad and that, I had somebody that was good at maths, English, science. He had all that shit. He could have taught me and helped me. But how was I supposed to know, being at 10 years old, that my parents weren't going to raise me, that my mum wasn't going to bring me up? She was just going to let me play out and let me do what I wanted because she believes that kids should be kids. She didn't believe in preparing kids for their own future and guiding them correctly. I don't hate my mum, I love my mum, but it annoys me that annoys me. It's like, how selfish can she be? Because it's easier letting a village raise your child. But then again, she was uneducated herself. She didn't go and learn anything. She didn't better herself. Like, okay, she was a stay-at-home mum and a full-time housewife, but cooking and cleaning and putting some washing on doesn't take that long. If she had a system. A couple of hours a day to do her English and maths or something to help her kids. Same with my stepdad, like he knew maths and English, but he never gave you that fatherly love to say, right, come here son, come here girl, I'll teach you. Just was like, well, as soon as you leave the gate, it's the school's problem, not mine. It's just not fair. I'm trying to get myself a brain. It's all very well, yeah, it's great, I'm behind in intellectual because I have ill treatment of the brain, and I have unintentional neglect as a child for over 18 years of my life, for all of my life. And that's not by just my parents, that's by the local authority as well. And it's all very well, I get money from the government, but it seems like because I get money from the government and I don't have to go to work, they hate me for it. I'm a scumbag, I'm a lowlife, I'm a piece of shit. How can I be a piece of shit? I'm trying to get ahead, I'm trying to do what's right, but just people don't want to let me. And boredom is just going to lead me back to fucking smoking weed. And that's where I went wrong. That's where I went wrong before. Shit just sorts itself out. It's like you can have mental health problems, right? Like PTSD. But I don't think your money should continue from the government if you're not using any of that money to address it. You know what I mean? If you're not trying to get better, you're not even trying, people. You get people that don't even try and get better or try and move forward, and then they just get a free pass. Me, I get fucking headache for it. What was that? Tom? Something fell over. Is that a stone? It's in the window. I just get a fucking headache for it. I'm sure paranoia can be treated. But yeah, a police car went by earlier and went woo, 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 and then turned the sirens off, so that's probably what that was. Some kids or whatever. What was it?
Foot rose.
Any stones outside on the front lawn?
I can't. There's loads of fucking stones on the fucking front lawn.
Oh. Sounded like it came from inside.
Mm.
And if I could just get into university, I could help clear cataracts from animals' eyes so they can see. I can perform an eye surgery. I could cut tumours and cancerous cells as a surgeon. So it's like I'm not even allowed to like enjoy money, like as if like I was at work. You know what I mean? Like if I went to work, there'd be no problems me going down to the pub or down to a Sunday carvery and having a dinner. Yeah, I don't get it. It's absolutely ridiculous. I should be able to. Like back in like 2017, 2018, there was a group of 20 odd something people that sued the local authority under a giant inquest, and they all got £1 million payout each. Because the local authority failed them. The only problem is if people found this out and did it, they were genuine there, and their kids were in local authority care, they would purposefully fail the child, like the parents would purposely fail the child so they can claim on it. They'd win the court case and then fail the child so then the child can claim. I think that's totally wrong. But it's weird how my little sister ended up with A grades and stuff at school. Well, my half sister, my half brother ended up like, you know, on a football team and a rugby team, and was a sporting academic. My other little brother, he's sort of, I don't know what he does, but me, I just ended up in the middle of nowhere, just like in wherever, in a world in between two different worlds, you know what I mean? And then they had the balls, well, not the balls, but the barefaced cheek to take my children away and say that I wouldn't raise them right, knowing the mistakes of my own parents. Now, I don't mean to quote, but I'm going to make a quote. All I want to do is give my kids the life and opportunities and the direction that I never had. But I don't want to do it on this so kind of bullshit like, oh yeah, you can put it on air and raise other people's kids and tell them your own kids and be part of a village because it takes a village to raise a child. I am a child that was raised by a village. It doesn't work. There's too many influences, too many different core beliefs, too many things. You upset and unbalance the child. This is why I believe that parents should stay together when they have kids. Which is the reason why me and Tamsin fought to stay together with Charlotte. And that is ultimately what, because we won't bow to the local authorities' will, which is what automatically led us to Charlotte being adopted, and then local authorities say, well, if you're not going to do what we ask, then we're not even going to entertain the idea of you taking your daughter home. Which is backwards. It's not right, it's incorrect. But anyway, maths is a bitch. But then all these people in your immediate vicinity, like in your area, don't like it. They don't like it because they've got their kids and they're like, well, we could have done exactly what he's done, but we didn't. Why didn't we do that? That could have been us, that could have shut your mouths. Do you know what I mean? Stop looking at what other people have got and what you ain't got. You've got more than what we've got. I don't have one person I can call my friend. Not one. And people wonder why I'm so angry and full of like hatred for others. So even though you get the money from the government and stuff like that because of the ill health or whatever it is, it's still not enough to do what you want to do with your life. I couldn't even get on a plane and go abroad.
because the legislation and the rule says you're not allowed to. Whereas if I was working, I could. But to get the job I want and work on how I want to work is different. I don't want to. I've already got a bad back. Right, it's alright, it gives out after a bit. You know what I mean? I'm not being funny, but I'm not cleaning toilets for a living. Because my head will be thinking, well, people know I work here, so they've took this massive shit in this toilet and puked up all over the floor on purpose just because they know that some fucking cleaner's got to come and clean it. And it'll just piss me off. Then I'll just get angry because I know that people just do it on purpose because they're fucking idiots. It's not beneath me, I just refuse to do it. I mean, who wants to put their hands in somebody else's shit for less than £10 an hour? There's no point in me to go into work into any labour market because I don't just want to be a site labourer. Oh, go move these bricks, put them over there. Sure, I'm not a fucking dog to be dogged around. I want to be a skilled labourer, which means that there's a promotional ladder. I can actually get somewhere. What's the point in just doing block paving? Fuck that. That ain't me either. I've just got to get over this maths hump. Get the system down, try and get it explained. You know what I mean? Like I say, I can help dogs and animals and stuff like that, birds, cats, any animal. Once I know their biology and their, what's the other word called? Physiology and anatomy. Once I know their anatomy, physiology, physical characteristics and biology, I could earn up to £200,000 a year. Well, being the way that I am, I won't know what to do with 200 grand a year. £200,000 a year plus. What the fuck do you do with 200 grand a year? That's like the same level as a chief prosecutor. And you're actually helping more people. And you're actually a benefit to society instead of a drain. Now with £200,000 a year, you could have £500,000 in 5 years. But you've got to do about fucking 6 years of studying. And I ain't going to be hung out to dry, or make a fool of myself, or embarrass myself for it, and put on a fake facade that nothing bothers you even though it does, but you just don't tell anybody or tell them the reason how it bothers you. like all the neighbours are like, oh, they've won, they've won, they've won. For you, it was a competition and a point score. For me, it was about my life and the direction my life's taking. And they all made a competition out of it. Even as a standard veterinary surgeon, it's 30 to 35,000 pounds a year. I only have to work for about 3 years and I can open up my own surgery. That's the average wage of a starting junior vet. 30,000 to 35,000 pounds a year. I mean, what's the point in joining the military when you're over 30, when you're over 25? There ain't no point. Just because that's what you wanted to do when you was a kid for family honour and pride, there ain't no point. Is there? You're too old by this point. When you get to the age that I'm at, you're way too old. You're not young and dumb enough. And plus, most people go into the military not foresighting what's going on. They just like the attention from the girls and whatever else. They don't really follow a career. It's like, my idea for the military was, I knew I had crap grades, but I knew that an HGV driving course is drive a lorry up the top of a hill, around a track and then down a hill, and then you've got your HGV licence. Back in the day. Not too sure it's like that now. But I wanted to move into the Royal Electrical Mechanical Engineers. Oh, thank you. Cheers. I ain't gonna lie, it's fucking stressful. And then learn on my qualifications, like when I did my selection, I knew that my English and maths was by the skin of my teeth, and my fitness levels were by the skin of my teeth, which is probably the reason why they didn't give me the fucking thing in the first place. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, when I was good looking to join, the Iraq War was going on, and 9/11 just happened. Right? But the thing is, why would I stay within the Poachers Regiment? Why would I stay in the 2 Royal Anglian? I'd move out of the 2 Royal Anglian. Within my first year. because it's stuff I would have discussed with my Army Careers Officer. I wouldn't just stay as a sandbag man, because that's all that you technically are. No offence, but it was the 2 Royal England Poachers Regiment as an infantry soldier. I would have been nothing but a sandbag man for the first couple of years while I'm still in Kuwait or Iraq. In my downtime, when everybody else would be at the NAFE, I'd have made in them engineers books. I'd still mingle with my regiment, because obviously when I go out on tour or when you're going out and stuff, you depend on each other to save each other's lives, but my main interest will be on them military vehicles. How do them tanks work? So the first thing I do is get a driving license so that I'm driving. Then drive the big 18-wheeler in class 1s and class 2s. Because then I'm around the vehicle. Then I know I'm responsible for the vehicle. When the vehicle gets logged back in to the vehicle, to the carpool, and when the vehicle comes out. So therefore I have to check the engine over, check the tyres, check the suspension, check the bushings, check the things, this, that and the other. And sometimes I would have to change parts myself. And then move up. Or then go and join a different service, depending on how strong you are. But you got to be prepared for the hell, like mentally. I think that's where my differences, or my, not my struggles, well yeah, they were a struggle, I did struggle to mingle and stuff like that, but my differences growing up will come into play. Because as much as I love the guy next to me, if he gets shot and dies, I never had that much love. Well, I had love, I was loved, but I never felt it. You know what I mean? Well, my parents would say that they loved me. I would say different. But the thing is, because they were close to me, and I didn't feel that love, if I'm in a bond with a band of brothers and one of them gets shot on the line or they die, or I have to do something like, I have to put them in a body bag and put them on a crate and go and explain to their mums and their fathers, or I knew them very well, I could take their Dear John letter or their Dear Jane letter and I would honour it to the fullest, but it wouldn't bother me. I don't think it'd bother me. I'm not sure it's selfish, but I see that as a strength. Because like the heart doesn't get to my head. You know what I mean? Because I know this from watching army films like Saving Ryan's Balls or Saving Ryan's Privates. And they go and he puts a letter in his top pocket, doesn't he? He gets picked off by the bell tower sniper. Well, I don't think it bothers me, like after my stepdad died, they turned around and they said, when my sister turned around, she said, when I walked in it smelled like raw sewage and rotten eggs. It absolutely stunk. But the thing is, there used to be a bath. We was going to put a bath in our house at 36 Biddle Road because that's where we used to live. And we had a corner bath that was outside, and my stepdad never put it in, and it filled up for about 2.5 years of stagnant water. And I used to look over the fence when I was playing in the back garden to see who was out in the front, just being climbing on the fence, and I would always fall off the fence and my foot would slip and I'd disturb that water. All my days it stunk. And again, I don't think it would bother me. I had my hands in fish guts and blood the other day. It didn't bother me. When I had Silas, I gave him a bar food raw diet, and I was cutting open pig's hearts and stuff like that. It didn't bother me. It just doesn't bother me. I mean, I know to be respectful, and I think sometimes it's the shock of what you're seeing that will make you throw up, but that won't happen very much. I might feel a bit queasy, like, oh my days, I feel sick, but I don't think I'll actually throw up. I think I'd just put a mask on, some gloves on, and just be like, fuck it. I'd make a joke out of it. No disrespect, but I genuinely would. I'd be like, well mate, you said if you ever did throw to me, give you a hand, well here's your fucking hand. And carry him and put him into his body bag. Well, at least you've got a nice fucking coffin to rest in, we still here in fucking hell. You know what I mean? Yeah, don't worry mate. Remember that time when you turned around and said you'd fuck my wife? I'm going to go and play on them tears tonight, motherfucker. No, I'm kidding, kiddo. I'm kidding, mate, I'm kidding. Don't worry, mate. I'll put my arm around your wife tonight. You know what I mean? But I know to be like, is it solemn? Like, reserved? And remember the fact that the person, as you're putting them into a body bag, was a person, and to take care in lifting them onto the stretcher and lifting them away. But hey, what can I say? Just don't think it would bother me that much. Right, I don't know. I mean, the funniest part about growing up for me is with my mum, is my stepdad would take my mobile phone off me if I'd misbehaved, right? And I'd find my mobile phone hidden in the bedroom or whatever. And I'd take my mobile phone, and he would literally punch and kick the shit out of me, slap me, shout at me, point at me and tell me where the phone was. Now, because my girlfriend's number's in this phone, and I'm thinking about getting laid, I'm like, I don't know, I haven't took the phone. He's like, tell me where the fucking phone is, I know you've took it, whack, or whatever it was, right? But I didn't give up the mobile phone. My mum came upstairs. My mum said, "Philip, you're going to kill me." And I just stood there like that. I was like, "I haven't got the phone, Mum." I was a bastard like that. I was like, "I haven't got the phone." And she was like, "Okay." And eventually my sister found the phone inside my pillowcase. Not my sister, my little brother. Found my phone inside the pillowcase and took it downstairs and gave it to my stepdad. Then I got another slap. Like, people I shouldn't be hanging around with, like, I went over to now, you've got to bear in mind, like, when I was a kid, my grandma, me and my mum lived with my grandma before we met, before my mum met my stepdad. And we lived in a house, and it was overcrowded, busy, you know, one of them busy households with loads of kids in. And obviously, because I was still under 2 years old, because my dad left when I was, my biological dad left me when I was about 1, 2 years old, because that's when my mum met my stepdad. And I used to go over and see my grandma. No, passing by, fly by visitor, cup of tea, how are you, how you doing? Now my cousins, they're all into motorbikes and drugs and getting drunk and stuff like that. That wasn't me. I wasn't really into that kind of stuff. But I used to like to go over and say hello, because there's been a bond that's been established, you see. My mum and my grandma never talked that much, but I used to go and visit anyway. And I came home one day and my stepdad said, "You've been over to your grandma's, don't tell me because your auntie told me." So my auntie grassed me up. I got through for a wardrobe for that. I had a built-in wardrobe that was already in the house when we moved in my bedroom. Or in the house I lived in, not my house. And I get a slap. My PlayStation got smashed, my second-hand PlayStation that came from a shop on Foss Road. I used to get slapped around my bedroom for it. You know, like, your kid runs away from home, what do? Do you slap your kid about and say, "You worried your mum's stupid? Do you have any idea how much you worried your mum?" Or do you take your kid underneath your wing and ask him, "Why did he run away?" But no. In my household, in my mum's household, you got slapped and beat up for it. Any disobedience, you got slapped and beat up. Which is now why I'm liking disobeying, because they're no longer around. So now you know the differences between my two assholes. Households, not assholes, I meant households. Ugh. But yeah. I mean, people try to make it up to me by doing certain stuff and this, that and the other, like, "Don't worry kid, you've got a big future plan for you." Yeah, I've got a big future, alright. One-way ticket to fucking hell. Wasn't all hell. I mean, holidays were great. Used to go to Skegger. And me and my stepdad had a water fight, and it was brilliant. It was really fun. Right? And I was spraying him with a water gun, and he lost the water fight. And he threw the water gun at me. And fuck off! And threw the water gun at me like a kid, as if like he was a kid. And we was in Skeggy in the caravan, and he bruised the back of my, was it the side of my face or the back of my neck? He hit me with it anyway, it left me a bruise. Later on that day, guess who got to go and empty the freaking toilet in the caravan? Me. He comes out and says, Philip, you like taking the piss here. Spending money was good though, and Inglemells Market was probably the best bit. I'm going to see some shows when we went to Butlins once. In a caravan, stayed on the caravan park, absolute bargain. Recommend you to go, especially near bonfire night. Fireworks show was spectacular. All timed in with music. It was like it was at Alton Towers. So sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. But I know where I suffered the most. But yeah, I mean, you know the only argument I heard with my biological dad was when he was on a disciplinary from work. Not a disciplinary, but he got a caution because he turned up late. He turned up late twice in a week because he was looking after me and I was living with my stepmom at that point, and he turned around and gave him some time off to as an ashtray so he could help me settle in. Anyway, and the simple argument was between my stepmom and my biological dad was, why aren't you at work? We've got the rent to pay and we still need to be able to save up for the deposit for the house. Something along those lines. That was it. That was it. And it was like, look, I've nothing I can do about it. They sent me home to sort this out. They're still going to pay me for my shift. It's okay, so she calmed down. That was the only argument I ever heard. And then one argument was just sort of like, what was the other argument about? Oh yeah, something like where my stepmom came downstairs and talked about, your dad don't love me because my stepmom wasn't very well. She was struggling at the time. She was struggling to adjust to the fact that my biological dad had anyone who's got a daughter will understand the fact that once you have a daughter, she becomes not your wife, but she becomes the one you unconditionally love. And I think my stepmom was struggling to adjust to that because he didn't exactly, I never heard him say it, but. And that's the only arguments I ever witnessed. The only row, wasn't even a row. My stepdad just came down and said her name and then said, don't ever say that to a child. You can't let a child know that. And my dad and my stepmom said, sorry Philip, I'm just a bit angry. And my stepdad, my biological dad said, as long as you're alright, are you alright Philip? I turned around and said, yeah, I'm fine. And he was like, okay, are you sure? Yeah. Yeah, this is adult, and then he just turned around and said something like, this is adult conversations, this is how adults are. I was like, oh, okay. I just carried on watching Football Focus and the Crossbar Challenge, which now I look at it as a big fault because that many people do the Crossbar Challenge that when they strike for the top of the goal, they've trained their eye to their foot for the hand and eye coordination or foot and eye coordination, and they hit the freaking crossbar. They practice crossbar challenge that much on Football Focus. Was it Football Focus? No. Soccer AM. Soccer AM every Saturday morning. Yeah. You know, and I understand, like, with separated parents, what kids go through as separated parents, like, especially when you've got a step parent. Like, the step parent becomes dad and they start calling their dad, they start calling the step parent dad instead of by their name. And then, Silas, get in your bed. And then they come home and they find out that you've called your biological dad dad. And it's like, right, that's it, he doesn't call me dad anymore, he calls me by my fucking name. Fucking Nora. And then the other argument is sort of like, you've been round somebody else's house and using their telephone talking to this person. And then threatening her with a knife and she's screaming. Not good at all. I know which side I prefer to be. I know whose footsteps and what type of dad I want to be. I know who I didn't want to turn out like, and I know who I should have followed and became, but within my own way. But still be myself, you know what I mean? Like the ways, as in like the ways, the core beliefs, the values, the way you get brought up. So I know how I wanted to raise my children. But it's like other people want me to be my stepdad. I'm not my stepdad. Never will be. I do things properly. Right? I don't believe in trying to make quick money because I know quick money doesn't last long. I mean, I've looked at the lives of these two people as I've growing up. One person had fights at his door every single day, insecure children, had his children removed, his wife left him. The other person ended up with a secure job, a career, a family, house, a car, and what seems as a normal happy life, yet there are still not struggles, but they have every relationship has their ups and downs, yet there's more love in one household than there is in another. In one household it's this, and in the other household it's this. You know what I mean? Like, I remember being woken up at like 9, 10 o'clock at night, and next door neighbour has to come round and look after the kids because your mum stormed off. And then she's sitting on the park or sitting on the dumps. And you're being told your mum's run off to leave you because she don't want you anymore. That's the violent side of it anyway. The abuse, the child abuse. And the neglect of emotional harm and neglect. Except for if I take the violence of my stepfather and then learn how to switch that on and off with my biological father, raise my household as my biological dad did, and then take my stepdad for the violence then to settle things that need to be done, then I should have a perfect balance. The only problem is all the anger is here.
all that aggression is here, and it's got nowhere to go. And even when I let it out, it disappears, but it doesn't come to anything. It's not controlled. It's not in a controlled manner, because that's where my body, I know, you know what I mean? But like I say, they made a political power game out of it. Which is why I relate to so much stuff that some people rap about. It's almost as if like our lives are in tandem, but we wasn't. It was probably a lot different. But in the music, it's so relatable. But these people want me to curb the aggression and the anger, because they know it will influence on others. But my stepdad was the type of person that went to a door with his mates, kicked in a door, and the door slammed behind him. He went to go switch on a drug dealer, and I'm talking like criminal language, but he went and switched on a drug dealer. There's about 6 blokes in there. He knocked them all out, just basically purely because of his size and when he used to be as a boxer as a kid. And by the time his mates got in, or his crew, his clan, he'd already knocked them out by the time they got through the door. Because you didn't have 6 lever lock doors in them days, you just had Yale latches, so the door came back and shut, and then latch closed. But we lived in Northfields, and when we lived in Northfields when I was a kid, I can remember since when I was born, 1987 to at least 1992, they kept breaking into the house, people kept breaking into the house, kept getting robbed, and my biological dad told me the fact that the reason why he got run off the estate is because my stepdad's passed. My stepdad thought he was a big hard man. And that's why he got run off the estate. So that proved to me at that point that it wasn't as hard as what he made out, but he was hard enough, you know what I mean? He could take a beating, he could give a beating. I can't take that away from him. But other than that, you know what I mean? Now, when I was growing up in Northfields and stuff, I used to live on Bale Road, and there was like those silver canisters that were on the streets, and then you used to see like the bullet casings. Used to look like bullet casings to me as a kid. And I remember calling my family or calling my dad from a telephone box, and I think that was when either Jason, the stepdad, was in jail, or my biological dad was in jail. And I remember talking to him on the phone. And I was like, "Love you, Dad." He was like, "Love you too," and I put the phone down from a BT telephone box. But my stepdad was good with mental math, mental arithmetic, but my biological dad was better. He beat him in every single way. My biological dad, my stepdad, had to resort to violence to win. He had to go to this to win. You know what I mean? You're just too afraid. You're just growing up too afraid to lash back out. You know what I mean? So please forgive me if I do what the fuck I want to do. Not because I'm owed anything, because I don't need a story to tell. I already have a story to tell. And the story will be so relatable to so many people and could help so many people. But it's already been done in a way. And that's all I wanted to do with it. And I don't really want to make any, I don't really want to put any dirt on it or any soda on it. I'm just going to keep it clean. But this is why I really disliked it. And then, yeah, you fall off the radar, you fall into, like, you don't care where you go, but you know what I mean? Then you meet elders, and elders will show you love, and like they'll give you permission to be a tearaway, and then you feel so free, like you could do whatever you wanted and nobody would ask a thing and nobody would stop you. Should have gone to intermediate tyres really, because this dry patch is going to shred my tyres. But I think if it wasn't for me if it wasn't for my biological grandfather and my step grandfather, well, my step great grandfather, I don't think I would have the feeling of responsibility, like people will call it righteousness, like be righteous. And I sound righteous in most things that I do, but I know I'm not perfect. Nobody is. Although I try my best to be now, because it makes up for the failings of my upbringing for other people. Anyway, I feel a little bit de-stressed now from maths. I'm going to go watch a film. And then hopefully this nightmare of who's who and who's this and what's he doing, just keep up with the Joneses will be over. Everyone can go about their own lives. And then I can just do wherever I want to do and go wherever I want to go.